When challenged by the rulers of the people and the older men and the scribes, the apostles Peter and John said, "Whether it is righteous in the sight of God to listen to you rather than to God, judge for yourselves. But as for us, we cannot stop speaking about the things we have seen and heard."
Hey, Dave, how's it going?
Good. Well, Jason, I think I know the situation you're talking about that's been in the news, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What really happens is that where the elders from Buxton completely handle the situation, and all this information goes to New York, and the young man has made clear to him what he's expected to do or conduct himself in the Kingdom Hall. And the congregation elders are very cognizant of, let's say, whereabouts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we inform parents on as needed basis, because as you know, of confidentiality.
Of course, yep.
We have to, anybody, because some of this happened 2 years ago, no reoccurrence, and as to the extent of it, it still hasn't even been completely, it's in even the court system, as you know.
Sure, yeah. So do you think
such a person would not be at this point, like I wouldn't invite them to my house for
Sure,
a social
of course
gathering.
not. Of course
The
not.
rest of the people, I would. However, when because we're told from New York to keep giving spiritual assistance to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Once this individual makes and clearly is continuing to make spiritual progress, then such things would change, and then you would know the change, because basically the way something happens is, say I would invite another family over as an elder, and I would invite that entire family, okay?
Right.
Without making a public declaration that it's okay, we're confident that everything is fine now, So, it's kind of like that. So at this point, because it wasn't announced here, but
Sure, right.
It was announced in Buxton that he's no longer a publisher of the good news. So and the research shows that basically he is like a worldly person who's attending the meetings. So you wouldn't normally invite a worldly person to your house, right, who's not making the truth his own. Although,
Sure.
Obviously the fact that he's coming to the Kingdom Hall, he wants to be right with Jehovah, and
Right.
so he's working.
Right.
So,
And it's just as a concerned parent, I see somebody like that initially as it's almost surveying the menu. That's my concern.
yeah, is doing what?
Is surveying the menu, because we have a lot of little ones at our Kingdom Hall.
Yes, well, and trust me, there are things that we can't talk about as elders, or
Sure.
that we go around, but
Completely understandable.
I can assure you that the elders' eyes are all on notice, and I think, you haven't been there, but if you would see, the young man basically does not leave the side of his mother or his father. He stays right in the spot.
Now, do you think that there's anyone else that we need to be concerned with at the Kingdom Hall?
No, not at this time. Not at this time. And if there was, we definitely would inform privately, the parents, such as yourself.
Right.
And at this time, there is no other situation ongoing like that.
Okay.
So, but if you have some concerns, or you think of, you don't hesitate to ask me or one of the other elders, or also, sometimes we don't have information that others have.
Right. So what about Darren?
Well, his situation was 5 years, or actually 10 years ago or more, and he too has current restrictions. I don't think you would see him picking up your children or any other child.
No, but I've seen him attending at assemblies, and I've seen him roving microphones and moving about freely, and that's part of the reason why, not him specifically, but that's part of the reason why my kids don't really move around a lot without me or my wife near them.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Jason, I raised my children the same way.
Yep.
And you know what? It restricted the fact that Colleen and I sometimes couldn't go out together alone or do things.
I've lived that for 5 years now, but you know what? It's worth it because this hits really close to home for me and Emily both. So it's just one of those things that I'd rather sacrifice a fun evening out than I can count on one hand how many people have watched our kids without us around.
Okay, well, Jason, that is the best protection there is, and that's what the society.
Absolutely.
That is the best protection, and so and Colleen and I did the same thing, and I can't stress that enough.
Yep.
And that is the key to a good, successful, safe family. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Right now. I feel like people need to know because like I said, I've only been in this state I haven't even been in this state for 10 years yet. But when I see that someone is on the lifetime registry, because anywhere I go and everyone I meet, I check because I don't know. And when I see that someone is on the lifetime registry, that says that the state of Maine and the laws, Caesar's laws, say that there is no time should he be unattended around children, and that's scary to me.
And I can tell you this much: the fact that he has not had any, and it's been that long. I mean, between his mother and now his wife, and his own. I mean, I have to tell you. I mean, I can't go into detail, but there were, alcohol, drugs, and all kinds of things involved at the time.
Yep.
Things like, and that stuff takes away good motive, it takes away judgment, and it takes away. Sometimes they don't even know what they're doing because they're so bombed.
Yep.
And so I can assure you that there have been, because he's been here ever since he was a kid, and he was out of the truth, and he was in the system for a while. But ever since he's come back, he's been a mouse, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
Sure, no.
I mean, he has done exactly as we have instructed. He has instructions from us. Mm-hmm. You rarely see him in service, and if he is, he's only with adults.
Yep. But I've seen him attending. I've seen him attending at assemblies, and there's a lot of opportunity when you're an attendant.
Right. Well, you know what? Okay, Jason, that was a mistake on somebody's part. All right. Yep. That shouldn't have been, and it will never happen again. I can tell you that.
Okay.
So, all right, and that actually was a mistake. Somebody allowed him to do something that he shouldn't have.
I agree. I agree fully.
And that won't happen again. I can tell you that.
Well, thank you. So, I appreciate that, and I mean, I believe what you're saying.
Yeah. No, and and like I said, sometimes we're put in a tough spot, and even when we do say something to the flock, we have to be careful because we represent Jehovah's name, and we want to care for the flock.
Absolutely.
And, the matter of even judicial matters, we keep them sealed.
For sure, of course.
There are certain things that become public at times, but we make sure that your kids are safe and that you're safe. I can assure you of that.
Well, thank you.
I can tell you this: what you said to me is the key to real success. And that's what Colleen and I did. We had very little time to ourselves. We had 3 kids. So as you can imagine, it wasn't until our kids got a lot older
Right. Yes.
that we started having some quiet time alone.
For sure. Yep. Yeah, I can't even spell quiet time anymore.
So anyway,
All right.
Well, hey, hopefully we'll see you tonight.
Yep. Well, thank you for giving me a call back. I really, really appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
Take care.
Bye.